Unbreakable, The Science of Mental Toughness and How to Overcome Any Obstacle, written and published by Elevate Book. Introduction. Why this book matters. Life presents us with obstacles, hardships, and moments of self-doubt that test our limits. But those who rise above adversity aren't necessarily the smartest, the strongest, or the most gifted. They are the ones who have developed mental toughness, the ability to push through pain, reframe failure, and persist when others quit. This book is designed to give you the tools to build an unbreakable mindset, one that will help you thrive in the face of challenges and turn setbacks into comebacks. By blending scientific research, historical references, real-life case studies, and actionable exercises, you will gain the knowledge and skills to develop a resilient mind capable of overcoming any challenge. Master self-discipline and mental endurance in high-pressure situations. Overcome fear, self-doubt, and the mental barriers holding you back. Build unstoppable momentum toward your biggest goals. This is not a book of empty motivation. Every chapter is backed by science, psychology, and real-world experience, ensuring you have practical tools to apply in your life. Who this book is for. This book is for anyone who struggles with self-doubt or fear of failure, wants to improve mental resilience and emotional intelligence, seeks to develop strong self-discipline and grit, feels stuck and wants to break through personal limitations, wants to learn from the toughest minds in history, science, and elite performance fields. Whether you're an entrepreneur, athlete, student, or someone simply looking to improve your mental game, this book will give you the tools to transform the way you handle adversity and achieve your biggest goals. What you'll learn. Each chapter dives deep into a core pillar of mental toughness, bringing together scientific insights, real-world stories, and practical exercises that will help you integrate these lessons into your daily life. 5. A clear sense of purpose. People who are resilient over the long term are driven by a deep sense of purpose. They do not just survive adversity, they use it to fuel their mission. To sustain resilience, ask, what is the larger purpose behind my goals? How can my struggles serve as a lesson to help others? What long-term impact do I want to make in my life and career? A strong sense of purpose transforms resilience into a lifelong source of motivation. How to reinforce resilience in different areas of life. In career and professional growth. Workplace challenges are inevitable, but resilient professionals adapt to change and view challenges as opportunities to grow. Handle criticism without taking it personally. Develop a long-term vision rather than being discouraged by short-term setbacks. Action step. Instead of viewing career struggles as obstacles, see them as a necessary part of success and skill development. In relationships and social life. Resilient people build relationships that strengthen, rather than weaken, their mental toughness. They communicate clearly and directly, rather than avoiding difficult conversations. They set boundaries to protect their energy. They learn to handle conflict calmly and rationally. Action step. Surround yourself with people who challenge, uplift, and encourage growth. In health and physical resilience, the mind and body are deeply connected. A strong body reinforces a strong mind. Regular physical training builds discipline and endurance. Proper nutrition and sleep enhance emotional regulation. Recovery and self-care are prioritized to avoid burnout. Action step. Develop a consistent physical training routine that strengthens both the body and the mind, turning resilience into a permanent identity. The most powerful shift occurs when resilience is no longer something a person does. It becomes who they are. How to embed resilience into your identity. 1. Adopt the identity of a resilient person. Instead of saying, I need to become more resilient, say, I am a resilient person. This mental shift leads to behaviors that reinforce resilience naturally. 2. Make decisions based on long-term strength. When facing choices, ask, will this make me stronger or weaker in the long run? Am I avoiding discomfort, or am I growing from it? What is the resilient choice in this situation? 3. Build a legacy of strength. Resilient individuals do not just improve themselves, they inspire others. They teach resilience to their children, students, or teams. They use their experiences to help others navigate adversity. They create a long-term impact that lasts beyond their own lifetime. A truly resilient future is not just about personal success. It is about leaving behind a legacy of strength and perseverance. A resilience action plan for lifelong strength. To ensure resilience is permanently integrated into life, follow this structured plan. Step 1. Define your core resilience principles. List 3 guiding principles that define your personal philosophy on resilience. Examples. I never quit, no matter how difficult things become. I see every challenge as an opportunity for growth. I maintain composure under pressure and take responsibility for my actions. Step 2. Establish non-negotiable habits. Commit to daily habits that reinforce resilience. Examples. Practicing gratitude each morning. Engaging in physical training for mental and physical strength. Reviewing goals and progress weekly. Step 3. Build a resilience support network. Identify 3 to 5 people who inspire resilience and actively seek their influence. Step 4. Create a long-term vision. Clarify where resilience will lead in 5, 10, or 20 years. What goals require resilience to achieve? How will mental toughness create long-term success? Step 5. Reflect and adjust continuously. Each month, review how well resilience was maintained, what challenges were faced and how they were handled, how to improve even further. By consistently reviewing progress, resilience remains strong for life. Conclusion. The final step to unbreakable resilience. Resilience is not a one-time effort. It is a lifelong commitment. It is the key to success, endurance, and personal growth. Key takeaways from this chapter. Resilience must be integrated into all areas of life: career, health, relationships, and mindset. Lifelong learning, discipline, and adaptability ensure resilience remains strong. Resilient individuals build a legacy of strength that influences others. The most powerful shift happens when resilience is no longer an effort, it becomes an identity. Final thoughts. This book has provided the strategies to develop an unbreakable mindset, overcome adversity, and master mental toughness. The final step is simple. Take action, embrace discomfort, and commit to a lifetime of resilience. Chapter 1. The Psychology of Mental Toughness. Introduction. What is mental toughness? Mental toughness is the ability to stay strong, focused, and persistent in the face of challenges. It is the psychological edge that allows individuals to perform consistently under pressure, push past obstacles, and maintain resilience despite adversity. It is what separates those who thrive in difficult situations from those who crumble under stress. But mental toughness is not an inborn trait. It is a skill that can be developed, honed through intentional practice, and strengthened with the right mindset. This chapter will explore the psychology and neuroscience behind mental toughness, the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, how cognitive reframing can turn obstacles into opportunities, the science behind resilience and emotional control, practical exercises to reprogram your mind for mental strength. By the end of this chapter, you will understand what mental toughness truly is and how to start developing it in your own life. The neuroscience behind resilience and grit, how your brain responds to stress and challenges. The brain is wired to seek comfort and safety. When we face difficulties, our amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing fear and emotions, triggers a fight or flight response. This reaction was useful for our ancestors when encountering predators, but in modern times, it can make us overly reactive to stress, fear, and setbacks. Mental toughness involves rewiring the brain to handle stress more effectively. Instead of reacting emotionally, tough-minded individuals learn to engage the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking, decision-making, and impulse control. Neuroscientific research shows that repeated exposure to challenges, combined with deliberate coping strategies, strengthens neural pathways associated with resilience. This means mental toughness can be built like a muscle through intentional effort and practice. The role of dopamine in mental toughness. Dopamine, the motivation molecule, plays a crucial role in perseverance. When we accomplish small tasks, our brain releases dopamine, reinforcing behaviors that lead to success. Individuals with high mental toughness leverage dopamine to stay motivated, setting up systems that reward progress rather than just focusing on outcomes. High performers set micro-goals, small, achievable steps that keep dopamine levels high and motivation steady. Mentally tough individuals reframe failure as feedback, ensuring dopamine is not completely depleted by setbacks. The role of mindset in overcoming obstacles. Fixed versus growth mindset. Dr. Carol Dweck's groundbreaking research on mindset highlights two distinct ways people approach challenges. 1. Fixed mindset, believing that abilities and intelligence are static, leading to avoidance of challenges and fear of failure. 2. Growth mindset, viewing challenges as opportunities for growth, leading to persistence and adaptability. Individuals with mental toughness cultivate a growth mindset, seeing failure as a stepping stone rather than a roadblock. They focus on effort over talent, knowing that progress comes from deliberate practice rather than natural ability. Cognitive reframing, turning obstacles into opportunities. The way we interpret difficulties determines how we respond to them. Cognitive reframing is a technique that trains the brain to see setbacks as growth opportunities. Examples of cognitive reframing in action. Thomas Edison reframed failure, stating, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Elite athletes use mental reframing to view competition stress as an advantage, helping them perform at peak levels. Entrepreneurs see market challenges as opportunities to innovate rather than reasons to quit. Practical exercise. The next time you face an obstacle, write down 1. The challenge itself. 2. Your initial emotional response. 3. A reframe perspective, how this challenge could help you grow. Over time, practicing cognitive reframing rewires your brain to automatically seek solutions instead of dwelling on problems. How to rewire your brain for unbreakable confidence. The science of self-belief. Confidence is not about being naturally fearless. It's about developing a deep trust in your ability to figure things out. Neuroscience shows that confidence is built through consistent action, positive reinforcement, and a focus on personal growth. Action builds confidence. Small wins create neural pathways that reinforce self-belief. Visualization strengthens confidence. Mental rehearsal primes the brain to expect success. Self-affirmations shift identity. Repeating empowering statements reshapes thought patterns. The role of emotional regulation. Mental toughness requires emotional control, the ability to stay calm, think rationally, and push forward despite fear or frustration. High-performing individuals use techniques such as deep breathing, box breathing technique, to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, journaling to process emotions and reduce anxiety, cold exposure therapy to train the body to remain calm under stress. Exercise. Try the box breathing technique. 1. Inhale for 4 seconds. 2. Hold for 4 seconds. 3. Exhale for 4 seconds. 4. Hold for 4 seconds. This technique instantly calms the nervous system, making it a powerful tool for mental resilience. Actionable exercises to strengthen mental endurance. 1. The 40% rule, used by Navy SEALs. Navy SEALs train with the belief that when you feel like quitting, you are only at 40% of your true potential. Exercise. Next time you feel exhausted, whether in a workout or a difficult task, push 20% beyond your initial stopping point. Over time, this will train your mind to endure discomfort and build mental fortitude. 2. The what if reframing method. When faced with a fear-based thought, reframe it into a challenge. Instead of "what if I fail?" ask, "what if I learn something valuable from this?" Instead of "what if this is too hard?" ask, "what if this makes me stronger?" This method conditions your brain to default to a growth-oriented response rather than avoidance. Conclusion. Building the foundation for mental toughness. Mental toughness is not a personality trait. It is a set of trainable skills that can be developed through practice, neuroscience-backed techniques, and a shift in mindset. Key takeaways. Mental toughness is a skill, not an innate trait. Your brain can be rewired for resilience through cognitive reframing and small wins. Emotional regulation techniques like deep breathing help manage stress. Deliberate exposure to discomfort strengthens mental endurance. Next chapter. The Science of Grit. Why persistence outperforms talent. The next chapter will dive deep into grit, the ability to persist long-term despite obstacles. You will learn how to build unshakable perseverance, sustain motivation, and develop the willpower to succeed even when the odds are stacked against you. Chapter 2. The Science of Grit. Why Persistence Outperforms Talent. Introduction. What is grit and why does it matter? Talent is overrated. Time and time again, research and real-life examples prove that grit, the ability to persevere through challenges, is the key factor in long-term success. It's not the most intelligent, the strongest, or the most naturally gifted who rise to the top. It's the ones who refuse to quit. Psychologist Angela Duckworth, the leading researcher on grit, defines it as passion and perseverance for long-term goals. This chapter will explore the science of grit and why it's more important than talent, how grit helps people overcome failure and adversity, the psychology behind why some people push through obstacles while others give up, real-world examples of gritty individuals who defied the odds, actionable steps to build grit in your own life. By the end of this chapter, you'll have a clear understanding of how to develop the mental stamina to keep going when things get tough, and why that's the ultimate key to success. The science of grit. Why persistence matters more than intelligence or talent. Angela Duckworth's research on grit. Angela Duckworth's groundbreaking studies found that the grittiest individuals consistently outperform their more talented peers, whether in academics, sports, business, or military training. Her research, conducted at West Point Military Academy, the National Spelling Bee, and elite corporations, revealed West Point cadets with higher grit scores were more likely to complete their rigorous training than those with high IQs. Spelling Bee champions were not the most naturally gifted, but the ones who practiced relentlessly. Entrepreneurs who succeeded were not necessarily the smartest, but the ones who endured through failures and setbacks. The grit formula: passion plus perseverance. Grit isn't just about working hard. It's about 1. Having a deep, long-term passion for your goal. 2. Developing relentless perseverance to push through obstacles. People with grit don't just set goals. They commit to them for the long haul, knowing that progress requires years of consistent effort. Real-life stories of grit in action. Thomas Edison. The power of relentless experimentation. Thomas Edison's teachers told him he was too stupid to learn anything. He was fired from multiple jobs for being unproductive. Yet, he went on to invent the light bulb, among many other innovations. He failed over 10,000 times before succeeding. But in his own words, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His story is a testament to the unstoppable nature of grit, failing repeatedly but never giving up. Michael Jordan. Outworking talent. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players in history, was cut from his high school team. Instead of quitting, he used rejection as fuel and trained harder than anyone else. He famously said, "I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." J.K. Rowling. Overcoming rejection and failure. Before becoming the world's best-selling author, J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers. She was a single mother living in poverty, struggling with depression, but she refused to quit on her dream of writing Harry Potter. Her story is a powerful example that grit, not luck, creates success. The psychology of grit. Why some people push forward while others quit. The role of deliberate practice. Studies show that gritty individuals engage in deliberate practice, the act of repeating and refining a skill with a focus on continuous improvement. Unlike regular practice, deliberate practice involves pushing beyond your comfort zone, seeking constructive criticism, persisting through frustration and failure. This is why grit beats talent, because talent without effort remains stagnant, while continuous practice leads to mastery. How grit shapes the brain. Neuroscientific studies show that grit strengthens the brain's resilience pathways. The more you push through difficult situations, the stronger your neural networks become, making persistence an ingrained habit. Growth mindset, believing abilities can improve, strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the decision-making part of the brain. Repeated effort increases dopamine levels, reinforcing motivation. How to cultivate grit in your own life. 1. Develop a deep sense of purpose. Gritty individuals are deeply connected to their purpose. If you want to sustain long-term effort, your goal must be meaningful. Exercise. Ask yourself, what mission or goal excites me enough to work on for years? What problem in the world do I want to help solve? How can I align my passions with my long-term purpose? A clear purpose fuels perseverance. 2. Reframe failure as feedback. Instead of seeing failure as a stop sign, train your brain to view it as data for improvement. Exercise. Each time you fail, write down 1. What went wrong? 2. What you learned from the experience. 3. How you will improve next time. This simple exercise rewires the brain to embrace challenges instead of avoiding them. 3. Use the hard thing rule, developed by Angela Duckworth. This rule states that every person should commit to one difficult activity that requires daily practice. Examples: learning a new instrument, training for a marathon, writing every day for a year. The rule: you cannot quit just because it's hard, only after completing a set milestone, e.g., 1 year. 4. Train your mind to love discomfort. Grit is built through deliberate exposure to discomfort. People who consistently seek challenging experiences grow stronger over time. Exercise. Every day, do something uncomfortable. Take cold showers. Do 1 extra rep in your workout. Wake up 30 minutes earlier to work on your goals. This conditions your brain to stop avoiding difficulty. 5. Build a resilient environment. Surround yourself with gritty, resilient people who inspire persistence. Mentors and role models help reinforce the importance of perseverance. Support systems provide motivation during setbacks. Avoid negative influences that encourage quitting when things get tough. Conclusion: the grit mindset for long-term success. Grit is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who give up too soon. The world's most successful individuals didn't rely on talent alone. They relied on persistence, passion, and the ability to overcome setbacks. Key takeaways: grit beats talent because effort compounds over time. Passion plus perseverance equals the formula for long-term success. Failure is a stepping stone, not a dead end. Resilience is built by continuously challenging yourself. Your environment influences your level of grit. Choose wisely. Next chapter: rewiring your brain for resilience. Now that we've explored grit, the next chapter will take a scientific deep dive into how to rewire your brain for resilience, ensuring that you develop an unshakable mindset capable of handling anything life throws at you. Chapter 3: Rewiring Your Brain for Resilience. Introduction: The Science of Resilience. Resilience is what allows people to bounce back from adversity, endure hardship, and thrive under pressure. It is the difference between those who crumble at the first sign of failure and those who rise stronger. But resilience is not a fixed trait. It is a skill that can be trained, strengthened, and rewired into your brain. Neuroscience has proven that your brain is malleable. With the right techniques, you can reprogram it to handle stress better, recover faster, and develop an unbreakable mindset. This chapter will explore the science behind neuroplasticity and resilience, how the brain rewires itself after adversity, techniques used by Navy SEALs, elite athletes, and top performers to train mental resilience, practical exercises to make your brain stress-resistant, how to develop a resilience blueprint for handling life's toughest challenges. By the end of this chapter, you will have concrete strategies to reshape your brain, overcome obstacles, and build unstoppable mental strength. The neuroscience of resilience: how your brain adapts to challenges. What happens in the brain when you face stress or adversity? When you encounter a stressful situation, your brain activates the amygdala, the emotional center responsible for fear and anxiety. This triggers the fight or flight response, releasing cortisol and adrenaline into your system. However, people with high resilience have a stronger prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for rational thinking and decision-making. This helps them override emotional impulses and respond calmly to challenges. The good news? You can train your brain to react this way automatically. Neuroplasticity: how you can rewire your mind for strength. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. Every time you overcome a challenge, push through discomfort, reframe a negative thought into a positive one, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with resilience. Over time, your brain adapts and builds mental toughness as a default state. How to train your brain for resilience. 1. The power of controlled exposure to stress. Top performers, whether military special forces, Olympic athletes, or CEOs, train their resilience by gradually exposing themselves to controlled stress. Why? Because the more you face discomfort, the less it controls you. Exercise. Pick one discomforting activity each day, such as taking cold showers, trains your brain to endure discomfort. Holding a plank for 1 minute longer than you think you can teaches persistence under stress. Practicing public speaking if you fear it builds confidence through exposure. Each time you lean into discomfort, you retrain your brain to handle pressure better. 2. Cognitive reframing. Turning problems into challenges. Your thoughts shape your reality. When you see obstacles as threats, your brain triggers stress responses. But when you reframe them as challenges, your brain releases dopamine and problem-solving neurotransmitters, making you more motivated and resilient. Exercise. Whenever you face a difficulty, write it down and reframe it. Instead of, "I'm overwhelmed with work," reframe as, "This is an opportunity to develop stronger time management skills." Instead of, "I failed my exam," reframe as, "This failure is feedback on where I need to improve." This small shift rewires your brain to see challenges as opportunities for growth. 3. The no complaints rule. Studies show that complaining weakens resilience. Every time you dwell on negativity, you reinforce neural pathways of victimhood instead of problem-solving. Exercise. For the next 7 days, eliminate complaints. Instead, every time you're tempted to complain, identify a solution to the problem. Reframe the issue into a learning experience. This trains your brain to focus on action rather than dwelling on negativity. 4. Visualization. Training your mind like an athlete. Elite athletes use mental rehearsal to build resilience. The brain cannot distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences, so visualization primes you to handle tough situations with confidence. Exercise. Every morning, spend 5 minutes visualizing yourself overcoming challenges. See yourself staying calm under pressure, successfully handling setbacks, adapting and thriving in difficult moments. Repeated visualization strengthens resilience circuits in your brain. The resilience of the world's toughest minds. Navy SEALs, mastering mental toughness under extreme stress. SEALs go through one of the world's hardest training programs, Hell Week, where they endure 5 days of extreme physical and mental stress with only 4 hours of sleep in total. How do they survive? They use mental reframing. Instead of thinking, "I have 5 days left," they focus on one small step at a time. Just make it to the next meal. They practice extreme focus. They shut out distractions and concentrate only on the present moment. They train themselves to thrive under pressure. They embrace stress rather than fear it. Lesson. Train your mind to focus on small wins rather than the entire challenge. Viktor Frankl, finding purpose in the worst circumstances. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and author of Man's Search for Meaning, survived Nazi concentration camps by training his mind to focus on purpose over suffering. His key insight: when we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Lesson. When you face hardship, find a higher purpose. Whether it's helping others, learning a valuable lesson, or using the experience for growth. Creating your personal resilience blueprint. Now that you understand the science and strategies behind resilience, it's time to apply them systematically to your life. Step 1. Identify your biggest mental weakness. Ask yourself, what situations make me feel mentally weak? Do you struggle with stress? Do you give up too easily? Do you avoid discomfort? Write down one mental weakness you want to improve. Step 2. Implement daily resilience training. Pick one of the following resilience-building exercises to practice every day for the next 30 days. Cold showers trains mental endurance. Daily visualization primes the mind for confidence. No complaints challenge rewires your brain for solutions. Micro-challenges do something uncomfortable daily. Step 3. Track your progress. Each night, reflect on how you handled stress that day, what you learned from challenges, how much closer you feel to mental toughness. Over time, your brain will automatically default to resilience in tough situations. Conclusion. Rewiring your mind for lifelong mental strength. Resilience is not about avoiding stress. It's about training your mind to handle it better. Key takeaways. Neuroplasticity allows you to rewire your brain for resilience. Controlled exposure to discomfort builds mental endurance. Cognitive reframing turns obstacles into opportunities. Elite performers thrive under pressure by focusing on small, manageable goals. Daily resilience training transforms you into an unbreakable individual. Next chapter, conquering fear and self-doubt. Now that you've learned how to build resilience, the next step is mastering fear and self-doubt, the two biggest obstacles to mental toughness. In the next chapter, you'll learn how to retrain your brain to eliminate fear, why self-doubt is a mental illusion, and how to break free from it. Psychological techniques to build unstoppable confidence. Chapter 4. Conquering fear and self-doubt. Introduction. Understanding fear and self-doubt. Fear and self-doubt are two of the greatest barriers to success. They keep people from pursuing their dreams, speaking up when it matters, and taking the risks necessary for growth. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stuck is not the absence of fear, but the ability to push forward despite it. This chapter will explore the psychology behind fear and self-doubt, why they exist, and how they can be eliminated. By the end of this chapter, you will have practical strategies to develop an unshakable belief in yourself and overcome the fears that have been holding you back. This chapter will cover the origins of fear and self-doubt, the psychology of confidence and how to build it, how successful people manage fear differently, the science of breaking limiting beliefs, practical techniques to reprogram your mind for courage, why fear and self-doubt exist. Fear is a survival mechanism. It evolved to keep humans safe from danger. In ancient times, it was necessary for survival. The fear of predators kept early humans alert and cautious. However, in modern times, fear is often irrational. Self-doubt is closely linked to fear. It is the inner voice that tells a person they are not good enough, not capable enough, or that they will fail. This voice is shaped by past experiences, childhood conditioning, and societal influences. The good news is that it can be silenced. The science of fear, how your brain creates it. Fear is triggered by the amygdala, a part of the brain responsible for processing threats. When a person perceives something as dangerous, the amygdala sends signals to release stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This response was useful in life-threatening situations, but today, the same response is triggered by things like public speaking, taking risks, or stepping outside of a comfort zone. The prefrontal cortex, the rational part of the brain, can override the amygdala. This means that with training, a person can rewire their brain to handle fear more effectively. The root of self-doubt. Self-doubt is often learned. It is the result of negative experiences, past failures, or criticism from others. People are not born doubting themselves. They develop it over time. The mind holds onto past mistakes and replays them as evidence of personal limitations. To overcome self-doubt, the brain must be rewired to focus on evidence of success rather than failure. How successful people handle fear differently. Fear does not disappear. It is managed. High performers experience fear just like everyone else, but they do not let it control them. Instead, they take action despite it. Here are key differences in how successful people handle fear and self-doubt. They acknowledge fear but do not let it dictate their actions. They use fear as a sign of growth and lean into discomfort. They separate emotions from decision-making. They view failure as feedback rather than a personal flaw. Breaking limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are the thoughts that tell a person they cannot do something. They are often based on past failures, societal conditioning, or negative self-talk. These beliefs create mental barriers that prevent progress. Common limiting beliefs and how to break them. The belief that one is not smart enough. Intelligence is not fixed. It can be improved through learning and effort. The belief that failure is a sign of incompetence. Failure is a normal part of growth and is often necessary for success. The belief that other people are more capable. Everyone has doubts, even the most successful individuals. The difference is how they handle them. To break limiting beliefs, it is important to challenge them. Every time a self-limiting thought arises, question its validity. Ask if there is real evidence to support it or if it is simply an assumption. Techniques to reprogram the mind for courage. 1. Exposure therapy, facing fear head-on. One of the most effective ways to eliminate fear is through gradual exposure. This technique involves repeatedly confronting the fear in small steps until it loses its power. For example, if public speaking causes fear, start by speaking in front of a mirror, then in front of a small group, and gradually increase the audience size. Over time, the brain will adjust and no longer see it as a threat. 2. The power of visualization. The brain cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined event and a real one. This means that visualizing success can create the same neural patterns as actually experiencing it. Before facing a fearful situation, take a few minutes to imagine handling it with confidence. See it in as much detail as possible. The more this is practiced, the more the brain will associate the situation with confidence rather than fear. 3. The 5-second rule. Mel Robbins, a well-known speaker and author, developed the 5-second rule as a way to overcome hesitation. The idea is simple. When fear or self-doubt appears, count down from 5 and take immediate action before the brain has a chance to talk itself out of it. This method works because hesitation strengthens fear. Action interrupts the fear response and retrains the brain to act despite discomfort. 4. Rewriting negative self-talk. The way a person speaks to themselves determines their level of confidence. Negative self-talk reinforces fear, while positive self-talk builds courage. Whenever a negative thought arises, consciously replace it with a more empowering statement. For example, instead of "I am not good enough," say "I am learning and improving every day." Instead of "I will probably fail," say "Every setback is a lesson for growth." Instead of "I am too afraid to do this," say "Fear is temporary, but growth lasts forever." Repetition of positive self-talk gradually reprograms the subconscious mind. The fear ladder, a step-by-step approach to conquering fear. This method involves creating a structured plan to face fear gradually. 1. Identify the specific fear. 2. Break it down into small, manageable steps. 3. Take action on the easiest step first. 4. Move to the next step once confidence is built. 5. Repeat until the fear is completely eliminated. For example, if someone fears networking, their fear ladder might look like this. 1. Read about networking techniques. 2. Practice speaking in front of a mirror. 3. Have a one-on-one conversation with a stranger. 4. Attend a small networking event. 5. Speak at a larger networking event. By taking gradual steps, fear is systematically reduced. Building an identity of confidence. Confidence is not something a person is born with. It is built through action. Every time a person acts courageously, they reinforce the identity of someone who is confident. To solidify this identity, it is important to surround oneself with confident people. Confidence is contagious. Keep promises to oneself. Following through on commitments builds trust in one's own abilities. Reflect on past successes. Reviewing moments of courage strengthens belief in oneself. Conclusion: the path to fearlessness. Fear and self-doubt do not have to control life. By understanding the science behind fear, challenging limiting beliefs, and using proven techniques to build confidence, it is possible to develop an unbreakable mindset. Key takeaways from this chapter. Fear is a survival mechanism, but it can be overridden by the prefrontal cortex. Self-doubt is learned and can be unlearned. Successful people experience fear but act despite it. Exposure therapy and visualization train the brain for confidence. Rewriting self-talk and using the 5-second rule eliminate hesitation. Next chapter, the role of emotional intelligence in mental toughness. Now that fear and self-doubt have been addressed, the next chapter will focus on emotional intelligence. Learning to control emotions is a key component of mental toughness, allowing for better decision-making, stronger relationships, and the ability to stay calm under pressure. Chapter 5. The role of emotional intelligence in mental toughness. Introduction. Why emotional intelligence is the key to mental strength. Mental toughness is often associated with perseverance, resilience, and grit. However, one of the most overlooked aspects of mental toughness is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, manage, and regulate emotions, both in oneself and in others. People with high emotional intelligence do not let emotions control them. Instead, They recognize emotions as temporary states and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This ability is what allows them to stay calm under pressure, handle criticism with grace, and maintain focus even in high-stress situations. This chapter will explore the science behind emotional intelligence and how it affects mental toughness. The 4 core components of emotional intelligence. How elite performers, leaders, and athletes use emotional intelligence to stay in control. Practical strategies to develop emotional resilience and handle stress effectively. How to build a high level of self-awareness and emotional mastery. By the end of this chapter, you will understand how to train your emotions to work for you, rather than against you, and develop an unstoppable mindset. The science of emotional intelligence. How the brain regulates emotions. Emotions are the brain's way of interpreting and responding to the world. They are essential for survival, but they can also cloud judgment if not managed properly. The human brain has 2 primary systems that process emotions. 1. The limbic system. This is the emotional center of the brain. It includes the amygdala, which triggers emotional reactions, especially fear and stress. 2. The prefrontal cortex. This is the logical, rational part of the brain responsible for self-control, problem-solving, and decision-making. In emotionally intelligent individuals, the prefrontal cortex overrides the limbic system, allowing for logical responses instead of impulsive emotional reactions. This is what enables elite performers to stay calm under pressure, think strategically in high-stakes situations, and make sound decisions even in difficult moments. The good news is that emotional intelligence can be trained and strengthened, just like any muscle in the body. The 4 core components of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is made up of 4 key components. 1. Self-awareness, understanding your own emotions. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand emotions as they arise. People with high self-awareness do not ignore their feelings, but they do not let them dictate their actions either. Key traits of self-aware individuals. They can identify their emotions accurately. They recognize how emotions influence their thoughts and behaviors. They take responsibility for their emotional reactions. How to develop self-awareness. Keep a daily journal of emotions and triggers. Practice mindfulness and self-reflection to understand emotional patterns. Ask for feedback from trusted friends or mentors. 2. Self-regulation, controlling emotional reactions. Self-regulation is the ability to manage emotions effectively. It does not mean suppressing emotions, but rather understanding them and choosing how to respond. People with strong self-regulation do not allow anger, stress, or frustration to control their actions, are able to remain calm and collected in difficult situations, can shift from negative emotional states to positive ones. Techniques for strengthening self-regulation. Pause before reacting. When emotions arise, take a moment to breathe and assess the situation logically. Reframe negative thoughts instead of saying, "This is terrible." Ask, "How can I learn from this?" Use controlled breathing techniques to reduce stress in the moment. 3. Social awareness, understanding others' emotions. Social awareness is the ability to recognize and understand the emotions of others. It involves empathy, active listening, and the ability to navigate social situations effectively. People with strong social awareness can read body language, tone of voice, and emotional cues, are able to understand and connect with people on a deeper level, can defuse conflicts by recognizing the emotions involved. Ways to improve social awareness. Practice active listening, focus completely on the speaker without interrupting. Observe emotional cues, pay attention to nonverbal communication. Develop genuine curiosity. Ask deeper questions to understand what others are feeling. 4. Relationship management, using emotional intelligence to influence others. The ability to manage relationships effectively is crucial for leadership, teamwork, and personal success. It involves communication, conflict resolution, and emotional influence. People with strong relationship management skills can de-escalate conflicts and find win-win solutions. Build strong personal and professional relationships. Use influence rather than authority to lead others. How to improve relationship management. Develop strong communication skills. Be clear, direct, and empathetic. Stay calm in conflict. Focus on solutions rather than emotions. Build trust through consistency and reliability. How high performers use emotional intelligence to stay in control. Athletes. Maintaining focus under pressure. Elite athletes train their minds as much as their bodies. Emotional intelligence allows them to handle stress, remain focused, and perform at their peak even under extreme pressure. For example, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were known for their ability to remain composed in high-pressure moments. Instead of letting anxiety take over, they trained themselves to channel their emotions into focus and confidence. Military Special Forces. Mastering emotional control in life-or-death situations. Navy SEALs and other Special Forces units undergo extreme mental training to control emotions in high-stress environments. They use breathing techniques, visualization, and cognitive reframing to stay calm under intense pressure. For example, Navy SEALs use box breathing to reduce stress instantly. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. This technique activates the parasympathetic nervous system, reducing stress and increasing focus. Entrepreneurs and leaders. Making rational decisions in high-stakes situations. Emotionally intelligent leaders do not let stress cloud their judgment. They remain calm and collected, making rational decisions even when under pressure. They use self-awareness and self-regulation to prevent emotions from negatively influencing their actions. Practical strategies to develop emotional intelligence. 1. Identify and label emotions. Whenever an emotion arises, identify it specifically. Instead of saying, "I feel bad," say, "I feel frustrated because I did not meet my goal today." This clarity reduces emotional overwhelm. 2. Develop a pause and reflect habit. Before reacting emotionally, take a deep breath and assess the situation. Ask, "Is this worth my emotional energy? And how can I respond in the most constructive way?" 3. Use stress reduction techniques. In high-stress moments, practice deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, grounding techniques such as focusing on physical sensations. 4. Strengthen empathy through perspective taking. To enhance social awareness, practice putting yourself in others' shoes. Ask, "What might this person be feeling right now?" This improves emotional connection and relationship skills. 5. Train yourself to stay calm under pressure. Expose yourself to controlled stress regularly. This could include speaking in front of a group, making high-pressure decisions, or engaging in activities that challenge emotional resilience. Conclusion: emotional intelligence as the foundation of mental toughness. Emotional intelligence is not just about understanding emotions. It is about mastering them. It is the skill that allows individuals to stay calm under pressure, build strong relationships, and make sound decisions even in the most challenging situations. Key takeaways from this chapter. Emotional intelligence is a trainable skill that enhances mental toughness. The prefrontal cortex can override emotional impulses, allowing for rational decision-making. The 4 components of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, social awareness, and relationship management are key to success. Practical techniques such as mindfulness, controlled breathing, and empathy exercises can significantly improve emotional control. Next chapter: mastering the art of self-discipline. Now that emotional intelligence has been explored, the next step is developing self-discipline. The next chapter will cover how to create unshakable habits, eliminate distractions, and stay committed to long-term goals. Chapter 6. Mastering the Art of Self-Discipline. Introduction. Why self-discipline is the key to success. The ability to stay committed to a goal, push through discomfort, and resist distractions is what separates those who succeed from those who struggle. Self-discipline is often more important than motivation because motivation fluctuates, while discipline remains constant. Self-discipline is not about relying on willpower alone. It is about creating systems, habits, and mental frameworks that make consistency effortless. Those who master self-discipline are not necessarily more motivated than others. They have simply trained themselves to take action regardless of how they feel. This chapter will explore the science of habit formation and how the brain builds discipline, how self-discipline outperforms motivation in the long run, the strategies used by the most disciplined people in the world, how to eliminate distractions and resist temptation, a step-by-step plan to develop rock-solid discipline in any area of life. By the end of this chapter, you will have a clear blueprint for mastering self-discipline and building a life of consistent progress. The science of self-discipline. How the brain forms habits. Self-discipline is a skill that is trained through repetition. The brain has a system called the basal ganglia, which is responsible for forming habits. When a behavior is repeated enough times, it becomes automatic and requires less mental effort. This is why disciplined individuals do not have to force themselves to take action. Their habits make it easy for them to follow through. The habit loop. How the brain automates behavior. Charles Duhigg, in his book The Power of Habit, explains that all habits follow a three-step loop. 1. Cue, a trigger that initiates the behavior. 2. Routine, the action or habit itself. 3. Reward, a sense of satisfaction or benefit that reinforces the habit. For example, a disciplined person does not need motivation to exercise because their brain has been conditioned to follow a habit loop. When the alarm goes off, cue, they put on their running shoes without thinking, routine, and afterward, they feel energized, reward. By intentionally shaping these habit loops, self-discipline can become second nature. Why self-discipline is more reliable than motivation. Motivation is temporary. It comes in bursts and fades when circumstances change. People who rely on motivation often struggle with consistency because they take action only when they feel like it. Self-discipline, on the other hand, removes emotions from the equation. Disciplined individuals do what needs to be done regardless of mood, circumstances, or obstacles. The mindset shift, identity-based discipline. Instead of waiting for motivation, high performers align their actions with their identity. They do not say, I have to force myself to do this. Instead, they say, this is just who I am. For example, a person who wants to be fit does not rely on motivation to work out. They tell themselves, I am the type of person who exercises every day. A writer does not wait for inspiration. They say, I am a disciplined writer, so I write daily. When discipline is tied to identity, it becomes automatic. The strategies of highly disciplined people. 1. The 2-minute rule. Starting small for massive results. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to be disciplined in an all-or-nothing manner. They set unrealistic expectations, fail once, and give up entirely. The solution is to start ridiculously small. The 2-minute rule, developed by James Clear in Atomic Habits, states that any new habit should take no more than 2 minutes to start. Instead of saying, I will read for an hour daily, start with, I will read 1 page. Instead of, I will meditate for 30 minutes, say, I will take 3 deep breaths. Once the habit is initiated, the brain naturally wants to continue the action. 2. Eliminating decision fatigue, making discipline effortless. Self-discipline fails when too many choices are involved. Decision fatigue occurs when the brain is overwhelmed by too many decisions, leading to procrastination. The most disciplined people remove unnecessary decisions from their daily routine so that willpower is not depleted. Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every day to avoid wasting mental energy on clothing choices. Athletes prepare meals in advance to avoid making impulsive food choices. To improve discipline, eliminate as many unnecessary choices as possible. 3. The 80-20 rule, focusing on high-impact habits. Not all habits produce equal results. The 80-20 rule states that 80% of results come from 20% of actions. Disciplined individuals focus on the smallest habits that create the biggest impact. For example, in fitness, focusing on compound exercises and whole foods yields better results than obsessing over minor details. In productivity, tackling the hardest task first leads to the biggest breakthroughs. Rather than trying to be disciplined in everything, focus on the most impactful areas. Eliminating distractions and resisting temptation. Self-discipline is not just about pushing forward. It is also about removing obstacles that derail progress. 1. Changing the environment to remove temptation. Willpower is limited. The easiest way to improve discipline is to change the environment so that temptation is removed entirely. If unhealthy food is not in the house, it cannot be eaten. If the phone is placed in another room, distractions are minimized. If the workspace is decluttered, productivity increases naturally. Instead of relying on willpower, create an environment where discipline happens automatically. 2. The 10-minute rule for overcoming procrastination. Whenever there is resistance to a task, commit to doing it for just 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, if the desire to quit remains, it is okay to stop. Most of the time, the brain resists starting, but once the task begins, momentum takes over and stopping becomes difficult. 3. The discipline accountability system. To stay on track, disciplined individuals use accountability systems. Public commitments, announcing goals to others creates external pressure to follow through. Accountability partners, having a friend or mentor track progress increases consistency. Tracking progress visually, using habit trackers or journals reinforces discipline. By making discipline visible and trackable, it becomes easier to stay consistent. Building an unshakable self-discipline system. To develop lifelong discipline, create a systematic approach that removes uncertainty. Step 1. Define the non-negotiables. List the top 3 areas where discipline is most needed. These should be habits that will create the biggest positive impact on life. Examples: exercising daily, waking up early, writing for 1 hour every morning. Step 2. Implement the 2-minute rule. For each habit, break it down into the smallest possible action to make it effortless to start. Instead of go to the gym daily, say put on gym shoes. Instead of write a book, say write 1 sentence. Step 3. Remove friction and temptation. Modify the environment to make discipline easy and distractions difficult. Place workout clothes near the bed to make morning exercise automatic. Set app blockers on the phone to eliminate digital distractions. Prepare meals in advance to remove unhealthy choices. Step 4. Track and optimize progress. Use visual habit trackers, accountability partners, or written reflections to reinforce consistency. Conclusion: the power of self-discipline in achieving any goal. Self-discipline is the foundation of success. It is more reliable than motivation, stronger than willpower, and the key to long-term achievement. Key takeaways from this chapter. Self-discipline is built through small, consistent actions. The brain forms habits through cue routine reward loops. Reducing decisions and removing distractions strengthens discipline. The best way to start is to focus on 2-minute habits and eliminate temptation. Next chapter: the power of adversity, how challenges shape mental strength. Chapter 7. The power of adversity, how challenges shape mental strength. Introduction. Why adversity is the ultimate teacher. Adversity is unavoidable. Every person will experience setbacks, failures, and moments of struggle. However, the difference between those who grow stronger and those who remain stuck is how they respond to challenges. Resilient individuals do not see adversity as a setback. Instead, they recognize it as an opportunity for growth. They understand that challenges develop character, strengthen mental toughness, and reveal hidden strengths. This chapter will explore the psychology of adversity and how it strengthens resilience. How history's most successful people turned struggles into strengths. The biological benefits of facing and overcoming challenges. How to reframe hardship into an opportunity for personal growth. A step-by-step plan to build resilience in the face of adversity. By the end of this chapter, you will understand how to embrace challenges as fuel for success rather than obstacles to avoid. How adversity builds mental strength. Adversity does not just reveal character, it builds it. The process of overcoming hardship forces individuals to adapt, learn, and strengthen their mindset. The science of stress adaptation. When faced with stress, the body and mind undergo changes designed to make them stronger for future challenges. This is known as hormesis, a biological principle stating that exposure to controlled stress makes an organism more resilient. Examples include physical training. Muscles grow stronger when exposed to controlled stress, exercise. Cold exposure. The body adapts to cold temperatures by strengthening circulation. Mental stress. Overcoming difficult situations enhances problem-solving skills and emotional resilience. In the same way, facing adversity trains the mind to handle future difficulties with greater ease. The growth mindset approach to adversity. Psychologist Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset proves that people who see failure as a learning opportunity are more likely to succeed. People with a fixed mindset believe challenges mean they are not capable. They avoid discomfort and see failure as a personal flaw. People with a growth mindset believe challenges are an opportunity to improve. They persist through hardship and see failure as a lesson. The way adversity is interpreted determines its effect. By shifting to a growth mindset, setbacks can become stepping stones toward success. Real-world examples of adversity leading to greatness. History is filled with individuals who used adversity as fuel for success. Nelson Mandela, enduring hardship to create change. Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for 27 years for his resistance against apartheid. Instead of becoming bitter, he used his time in prison to educate himself, strengthen his resolve, and refine his leadership skills. When he was released, he became South Africa's first black president and a global symbol of resilience. His story demonstrates that adversity does not define a person. How they respond to it does. Oprah Winfrey, overcoming poverty and rejection. Oprah Winfrey grew up in poverty and faced numerous obstacles early in life. She was fired from her first television job, but instead of giving up, she used rejection as motivation to improve. Today, she is one of the most influential figures in media. Her story shows that setbacks can be turning points for greatness. J.K. Rowling, failure as a foundation for success. Before publishing Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling faced multiple rejections from publishers, was unemployed, and was raising a child alone. Instead of giving up, she used her struggles as motivation to keep writing. Her story is a reminder that failure is not the end. It is often the beginning of success. The biological benefits of facing challenges. Adversity strengthens not just the mind, but also the body. How stress improves mental toughness. Short-term stress, when managed correctly, enhances memory and learning. Moderate stress stimulates brain growth and improves cognitive function. Emotional resilience. Exposure to controlled adversity trains the brain to remain calm in difficult situations. Adaptability. Facing different challenges forces the brain to develop creative solutions. This is why people who regularly challenge themselves mentally and physically are better equipped to handle unexpected difficulties. How to reframe adversity as an opportunity for growth. The way a challenge is perceived determines its impact. Instead of seeing adversity as a barrier, it can be reframed as a necessary step toward growth. The adversity reframing process. 1. Acknowledge the struggle. Accept that hardship is part of life. 2. Shift the perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How can I grow from this?" 3. Find the lesson. Identify what can be learned from the situation. 4. Take action. Use adversity as motivation to improve. By consistently reframing adversity, the brain learns to see challenges as opportunities rather than threats. Developing a resilience plan for future challenges. Resilience is not just about reacting to adversity. It is about preparing for it. 1. Strengthen emotional regulation. People who handle adversity well do not allow emotions to control their actions. They practice deep breathing techniques to stay calm under pressure, journaling to process emotions and maintain perspective, cognitive reframing to shift negative thoughts into positive interpretations. 2. Train the mind through voluntary hardship. One of the best ways to prepare for real adversity is to practice controlled discomfort. Methods include cold showers, trains the body and mind to handle discomfort. Fasting, strengthens self-discipline and resilience. Physical endurance challenges, builds mental toughness. By willingly exposing oneself to small hardships, resilience increases naturally. 3. Build a support system. Having a strong network of supportive individuals increases resilience. A solid support system provides encouragement during difficult times, guidance from those who have faced similar struggles, accountability to stay focused on personal growth. Surrounding oneself with resilient, growth-oriented people makes handling adversity easier. 4. Maintain a long-term perspective. Difficult situations often feel overwhelming in the moment, but most challenges are temporary. Developing a long-term mindset helps keep adversity in perspective. Instead of thinking, "This problem is ruining my life," ask, "Will this still matter in a year? What will I learn from this experience?" How can I use this challenge to grow stronger? A long-term outlook reduces stress and prevents short-term struggles from feeling like permanent failures. Conclusion: adversity is the pathway to strength. Challenges are not roadblocks, they are stepping stones. Every difficulty presents a choice, to give up or to grow. Those who develop the habit of embracing adversity emerge stronger, more resilient, and better prepared for future challenges. Key takeaways from this chapter: adversity is not something to be feared. It is a tool for personal growth. The brain and body adapt to hardship, making future challenges easier to handle. History's most successful people used adversity as fuel for achievement. Reframing challenges as opportunities increases resilience. Preparing for adversity through voluntary hardship strengthens mental toughness. Next chapter: how to stay calm under pressure. Now that resilience has been developed, the next step is mastering calmness under pressure. The next chapter will explore the science of stress management and emotional control, how elite performers maintain composure in high-stakes situations, practical techniques to develop an unshakable, calm mindset. Chapter 8: how to stay calm under pressure. Introduction: the power of composure in high-stress situations. Pressure is an unavoidable part of life. Whether it is in high-stakes business meetings, athletic competitions, emergency situations, or personal challenges, the ability to stay calm under pressure is one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. Many people crumble when faced with stress. Their heart races, their mind becomes clouded, and they react impulsively instead of thinking strategically. However, those who master the ability to stay calm under pressure maintain clarity, make better decisions, and perform at their best, even in the most intense situations. This chapter will explore the science of stress and how it affects the brain, how elite performers, athletes, and military professionals stay calm in high-pressure moments, the biological techniques for reducing stress instantly, practical strategies to train the mind and body to remain composed under pressure, how to develop an unshakable calm mindset that withstands any situation. By the end of this chapter, you will understand how to control stress instead of letting stress control you. The science of stress: why people panic under pressure. When faced with pressure, the body activates the fight or flight response, controlled by the amygdala, the brain's emotional processing center. This response evolved to protect early humans from life-threatening dangers. However, in modern life, it often triggers unnecessary stress in situations that do not involve actual physical threats. When the fight or flight response is activated, the body experiences increased heart rate, rapid breathing, tunnel vision, and reduced cognitive function. A surge of cortisol and adrenaline, which can impair decision-making. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thinking, becomes overwhelmed, leading to impulsive reactions rather than logical responses. The key to staying calm under pressure is learning how to override the amygdala's panic response and engage the prefrontal cortex for clear thinking. How elite performers stay calm under pressure. 1. Navy SEALs. The art of remaining calm in life-or-death situations. Navy SEALs undergo some of the most intense training in the world. Their ability to remain calm under extreme pressure is the difference between life and death. They use mental conditioning techniques to override fear and stay in control. These include box breathing, a breathing technique that instantly calms the nervous system. Visualization, mentally rehearsing difficult situations so that when they occur in real life, the brain is already prepared. Stress inoculation training, exposing themselves to high-stress environments so they learn to function under pressure. 2. Elite athletes, maintaining focus in high-stakes moments. Athletes train their minds as rigorously as their bodies. The best competitors do not let nerves disrupt their performance. Instead, they use pre-game routines to stay mentally prepared, mindfulness techniques to stay present and focused, cognitive reframing to see pressure as a privilege rather than a threat. 3. Emergency responders, thinking clearly in crisis situations. Firefighters, surgeons, and first responders must make critical decisions under extreme pressure. They remain calm by training themselves to focus on solutions rather than problems, using systematic checklists to guide their actions, developing muscle memory through repeated practice so their responses become automatic. Practical techniques to stay calm under pressure. 1. Box breathing, the instant stress reduction technique. One of the fastest ways to regain control in high-pressure situations is box breathing, used by military professionals and elite athletes. How to do it. Inhale deeply for 4 seconds. Hold the breath for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly for 4 seconds. Hold the exhale for 4 seconds. Repeat this cycle until calmness is restored. This method activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which reduces stress hormones and brings the body back to a calm state. 2. The grounding method, regaining control in stressful moments. When stress feels overwhelming, grounding techniques help bring focus back to the present moment. A simple method is the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Identify 5 things you can see. Identify 4 things you can touch. Identify 3 things you can hear. Identify 2 things you can smell. Identify 1 thing you can taste. This shifts focus away from stress and into the present reality, reducing anxiety. 3. The power of mental rehearsal. Visualization is a tool used by Navy SEALs, Olympic athletes, and high-level executives to prepare for high-pressure situations. Steps for mental rehearsal. Close your eyes and imagine yourself successfully handling the high-pressure situation. Visualize every detail, from your body language to your actions. See yourself staying calm, confident, and in control. The brain cannot tell the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one, so repeated visualization trains the mind to remain composed under pressure. 4. Reframing pressure as a challenge, not a threat. The way pressure is perceived determines the body's response. Studies show that viewing pressure as an opportunity rather than a threat improves performance. Instead of thinking, "I am nervous," reframe it as, "I am excited and ready for this." The physiological response to excitement and anxiety is the same. Heart rate increases, adrenaline surges, but the interpretation of the experience changes its effect. 5. Creating a pre-performance routine. A structured pre-performance routine signals the brain that it is time to enter a calm, focused state. Examples of pre-performance routines. Athletes have warm-up rituals before games. Public speakers practice deep breathing and positive affirmations before speaking. Surgeons follow a pre-surgical routine to maintain precision and focus. By developing a consistent routine, the brain becomes conditioned to stay calm when it matters most. Building a long-term calm mindset. Staying calm under pressure is not just about handling individual situations. It is about developing an overall mindset of composure. 1. Strengthen emotional regulation through mindfulness. Daily mindfulness practice trains the brain to handle stress better. This includes daily meditation for 5 to 10 minutes, practicing awareness of emotions without reacting impulsively, training the mind to return to the present moment when under stress. Mindfulness rewires the brain for greater emotional control, reducing panic responses over time. 2. Build exposure to pressure gradually. The best way to get better at handling pressure is to face it regularly. Start by practicing speaking in small groups before presenting to large audiences. Introduce controlled discomfort, such as exercising in difficult conditions. Intentionally take on mildly stressful situations to strengthen mental endurance. By exposing the mind to pressure in manageable doses, resilience increases naturally. 3. Develop a solution-oriented mindset. Instead of focusing on problems, train the brain to immediately look for solutions when faced with stress. Ask, "What can I control in this situation?" Break the problem into small, manageable steps. Focus on the next immediate action rather than the entire challenge. By shifting focus to solutions, stress becomes less overwhelming. Conclusion. The key to staying calm in any situation. The ability to stay calm under pressure is a skill that can be trained and strengthened. Whether in personal life, business, sports, or emergency situations, composure leads to better decisions, improved performance, and greater resilience. Key takeaways from this chapter. The fight-or-flight response can be overridden through training and conscious techniques. Navy SEALs, athletes, and emergency responders use structured techniques to remain calm under extreme pressure. Box breathing, mental rehearsal, and grounding methods are immediate tools to reduce stress. Developing a long-term calm mindset requires mindfulness, exposure training, and solution-focused thinking. Next chapter, developing a warrior mindset. Now that composure under pressure has been mastered, the next chapter will explore how to develop a warrior mindset, pushing past mental and physical limits to achieve extraordinary results. Chapter 9. Developing a warrior mindset. Introduction. What it means to have a warrior mindset. A warrior mindset is not about aggression or dominance. It is about mental strength, resilience, and the ability to push through adversity with unwavering determination. It is the mindset of those who refuse to quit, no matter how difficult the challenge. Throughout history, warriors, whether soldiers, athletes, or leaders, have shared common traits: self-discipline, unwavering focus, emotional control, and the ability to thrive under extreme pressure. This mindset is not reserved for an elite few. It can be developed by anyone willing to train their mind and body for endurance, adaptability, and relentless perseverance. This chapter will explore the core principles of a warrior mindset and how they apply to everyday life. The psychology of extreme endurance and mental fortitude. How special forces, martial artists, and high achievers cultivate relentless focus and discipline. Practical strategies to develop unshakable mental toughness. A step-by-step process to train your mind like a warrior. By the end of this chapter, you will understand how to push past mental and physical limits, strengthen your mindset, and develop the toughness needed to achieve your biggest goals. The core principles of a warrior mindset. Those who embody the warrior mindset operate by a set of principles that guide their actions. 1. Absolute responsibility. A warrior takes full ownership of their life. They do not blame circumstances, other people, or external factors for their failures. Instead, they focus on what they can control and take action accordingly. 2. Mental and physical toughness. A strong mind and a strong body go hand in hand. Physical endurance training strengthens mental resilience, and mental training enhances physical performance. Warriors push beyond their comfort zones in both areas. 3. Unbreakable focus and discipline. Warriors do not let distractions derail them. They remain committed to their mission, refusing to give up or procrastinate. 4. Adaptability under pressure. Life is unpredictable. Warriors embrace uncertainty and learn to adjust their strategies without losing momentum. 5. Resilience in the face of pain and discomfort. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Warriors accept discomfort as part of the process and use it to grow stronger. The psychology of extreme endurance. What allows some individuals to push past exhaustion, fear, and pain while others give up? Science provides some answers. The 40% rule. How Navy SEALs push beyond limits. The 40% rule states that when the mind tells the body it is done, it is actually only at 40% of its true capacity. This principle is used by Navy SEALs to endure extreme training. This means that when exhaustion, doubt, or fear set in, a person still has 60% more to give. Training to override this mental barrier involves pushing slightly beyond perceived limits in training, reframing pain as a temporary signal, not a stopping point, developing the habit of finishing what is started, regardless of difficulty. How the brain builds mental toughness. Mental toughness is not an inborn trait. It is a learned skill that strengthens with practice. The brain adapts to stress through a process called neuroplasticity, meaning that repeated exposure to difficulty builds resilience. The more the brain is exposed to controlled stress, the better it becomes at handling adversity. Over time, the brain rewires itself to default to perseverance instead of quitting. This is why elite performers regularly train under uncomfortable conditions to strengthen their ability to thrive under pressure. How warriors train their minds for unbreakable strength. 1. Controlled exposure to discomfort. Warriors seek out discomfort in training so that real-life challenges feel easier in comparison. Ways to apply this. Train in difficult conditions, cold weather, early mornings, high-intensity workouts. Fast for short periods to strengthen mental and physical discipline. Deliberately take on difficult tasks instead of avoiding them. 2. The power of visualization. Preparing the mind for battle. Elite performers visualize success before they experience it. Mental rehearsal strengthens confidence, emotional control, and decision-making under pressure. Steps to apply this. Close your eyes and visualize yourself successfully completing a difficult task. Imagine every detail, your breathing, posture, and emotions. See yourself overcoming obstacles and finishing strong. Over time, the brain begins to associate high-pressure situations with confidence instead of fear. 3. Creating an identity of mental toughness. A warrior does not just act tough. They become the type of person who thrives under challenge. Instead of saying, "I will try to be more disciplined," say, "I am the type of person who never quits." By reinforcing this identity through consistent action, mental toughness becomes second nature. 4. Mastering emotional control under stress. Warriors do not allow fear, frustration, or pain to dictate their actions. Techniques to apply. Controlled breathing to slow heart rate and regain focus. Immediate reframing of negative thoughts into challenges. Developing the ability to pause before reacting emotionally. By practicing these techniques, emotional control becomes a default state, even in high-pressure situations. Building a warrior training system for mental toughness. To develop a warrior mindset, create daily habits that reinforce resilience, discipline, and endurance. Step 1. Implement daily exposure to discomfort. Choose one uncomfortable activity every day, such as waking up an hour earlier, exercising at a higher intensity, taking cold showers, tackling difficult tasks first instead of procrastinating. Step 2. Train the mind to override self-doubt. When the brain says, "I cannot do this," respond with, "I will do it anyway. I can handle more than I think. This challenge is making me stronger." By repeating this process, mental endurance strengthens. Step 3. Set high standards and non-negotiables. Warriors operate by strict personal standards. They do not make excuses or break commitments to themselves. Decide on 3 non-negotiable habits and commit to them daily. Examples: exercising for at least 30 minutes, no matter how busy the day is. Reading or learning something new every day. Following through on every commitment made, no matter how small. Step 4. Review and strengthen resilience weekly. At the end of each week, ask, "What was my toughest moment this week? How did I respond? What could I have done better?" This reflection helps continuously refine mental toughness. Conclusion: becoming unstoppable. Developing a warrior mindset is not about being fearless. It is about taking action despite fear, discomfort, and resistance. Warriors are not born. They are made through consistent training, discipline, and a refusal to quit. Key takeaways from this chapter. The 40% rule shows that the mind gives up far before the body needs to. Warriors train their minds daily through controlled discomfort. Visualization and identity-based discipline create mental resilience. Emotional control allows warriors to stay calm and focused under stress. Consistency in training mental toughness leads to an unbreakable mindset. Next chapter: building a resilient future. Now that mental toughness has been developed, the final step is learning how to integrate resilience into all areas of life, ensuring long-term success, adaptability, and continuous personal growth. Chapter 10. Building a Resilient Future. Introduction: the long-term power of resilience. Resilience is not just about overcoming a single challenge. It is about creating a life where setbacks do not derail progress, where adversity becomes fuel for growth, and where long-term success is inevitable. Many people view resilience as something they need only during difficult times. However, those who truly master resilience make it a permanent part of their identity. They integrate it into their daily habits, relationships, career, and personal development. This chapter will explore how to apply mental toughness to every area of life, the importance of lifelong learning, adaptability, and continuous self-improvement, how to turn resilience into a core identity rather than just a skill, the role of purpose and long-term vision in sustaining resilience, a practical action plan to ensure mental toughness lasts a lifetime. By the end of this chapter, you will have a roadmap for sustaining resilience, thriving under pressure, and creating a life of long-term success. The foundations of a resilient life. Resilience is not a single trait but a combination of mental, emotional, and strategic habits that reinforce toughness over time. There are 5 core foundations that ensure resilience remains a long-term part of life. 1. lifelong learning, and adaptability. Resilient individuals never stop learning. They recognize that growth is a lifelong process, and they actively seek new knowledge, skills, and challenges. They read books, listen to podcasts, and surround themselves with growth-oriented people. They see failures as learning experiences rather than dead ends. They embrace change rather than resisting it. A commitment to lifelong learning ensures that no setback is permanent, because every challenge becomes an opportunity to improve. 2. Unshakable daily habits. Success is built on consistent, disciplined habits. Those who sustain resilience have non-negotiable habits that reinforce their mental toughness. These include daily exercise to maintain physical and mental strength, mindfulness or reflection to process emotions and reduce stress, setting and reviewing goals to stay focused on long-term vision. When discipline becomes a habit, resilience becomes effortless. 3. A strong support system. No one succeeds alone. The most resilient people build strong relationships with like-minded individuals who support their growth. They surround themselves with people who challenge and inspire them. They seek mentors who provide guidance during difficult times. They remove toxic influences that drain their energy or hold them back. A resilient future is not just about self-reliance. It is about building a network of strong, positive connections. 4. Emotional resilience and self-regulation. Long-term resilience requires emotional intelligence and the ability to regulate emotions under stress. This involves practicing emotional control instead of reacting impulsively, learning to pause, reflect, and respond with intention, using stress management techniques such as breathing exercises, meditation, or journaling. By mastering emotions, long-term resilience becomes second nature. 5. A clear sense of purpose. People who are resilient over the long term are driven by a deep sense of purpose. They do not just survive adversity, they use it to fuel their mission. To sustain resilience, ask, what is the larger purpose behind my goals? How can my struggles serve as a lesson to help others? What long-term impact do I want to make in my life and career? A strong sense of purpose transforms resilience into a lifelong source of motivation. How to reinforce resilience in different areas of life. In career and professional growth, workplace challenges are inevitable, but resilient professionals adapt to change and view challenges as opportunities to grow. Handle criticism without taking it personally. Develop a long-term vision rather than being discouraged by short-term setbacks. Action step. Instead of viewing career struggles as obstacles, see them as a necessary part of success and skill development. In relationships and social life, resilient people build relationships that strengthen, rather than weaken, their mental toughness. They communicate clearly and directly, rather than avoiding difficult conversations. They set boundaries to protect their energy. They learn to handle conflict calmly and rationally. Action step. Surround yourself with people who challenge, uplift, and encourage growth. In health and physical resilience, the mind and body are deeply connected. A strong body reinforces a strong mind. Regular physical training builds discipline and endurance. Proper nutrition and sleep enhance emotional regulation. Recovery and self-care are prioritized to avoid burnout. Action step. Develop a consistent physical training routine that strengthens both the body and the mind, turning resilience into a permanent identity. The most powerful shift occurs when resilience is no longer something a person does. It becomes who they are. How to embed resilience into your identity. 1. Adopt the identity of a resilient person. Instead of saying, I need to become more resilient, say, I am a resilient person. This mental shift leads to behaviors that reinforce resilience naturally. 2. Make decisions based on long-term strength. When facing choices, ask, will this make me stronger or weaker in the long run? Am I avoiding discomfort, or am I growing from it? What is the resilient choice in this situation? 3. Build a legacy of strength. Resilient individuals do not just improve themselves, they inspire others. They teach resilience to their children, students, or teams. They use their experiences to help others navigate adversity. They create a long-term impact that lasts beyond their own lifetime. A truly resilient future is not just about personal success. It is about leaving behind a legacy of strength and perseverance. A resilience action plan for lifelong strength. To ensure resilience is permanently integrated into life, follow this structured plan. Step 1. Define your core resilience principles. List 3 guiding principles that define your personal philosophy on resilience. Examples. I never quit, no matter how difficult things become. I see every challenge as an opportunity for growth. I maintain composure under pressure and take responsibility for my actions. Step 2. Establish non-negotiable habits. Commit to daily habits that reinforce resilience. Examples. Practicing gratitude each morning. Engaging in physical training for mental and physical strength. Reviewing goals and progress weekly. Step 3. Build a resilience support network. Identify 3 to 5 people who inspire resilience and actively seek their influence. Step 4. Create a long-term vision. Clarify where resilience will lead in 5, 10, or 20 years. What goals require resilience to achieve? How will mental toughness create long-term success? Step 5. Reflect and adjust continuously. Each month, review how well resilience was maintained, what challenges were faced and how they were handled, how to improve even further. By consistently reviewing progress, resilience remains strong for life. Conclusion. The final step to unbreakable resilience. Resilience is not a one-time effort. It is a lifelong commitment. It is the key to success, endurance, and personal growth. Key takeaways from this chapter. Resilience must be integrated into all areas of life: career, health, relationships, and mindset. Lifelong learning, discipline, and adaptability ensure resilience remains strong. Resilient individuals build a legacy of strength that influences others. The most powerful shift happens when resilience is no longer an effort, it becomes an identity. Final thoughts. This book has provided the strategies to develop an unbreakable mindset, overcome adversity, and master mental toughness. The final step is simple. Take action, embrace discomfort, and commit to a lifetime of resilience.